give our customers a lot more choice. So they didn't have to buy what they didn't need, so they could configure their systems exactly as they wanted to. It was also designed to dramatically simplify inventory at the dealers, the distributors, and at Apple, and provide instant availability of new components and configurations, so we don't have to wait a few months to see these things slowly move through the channel to the end customer. And everybody told us Apple can never, ever execute this. And you know what? It all worked. It worked great. We took thousands of orders, we shipped thousands of systems on time, and it's worked like a champ. And I think our operations team has done a phenomenal job on this. Everything we do in the future is moving in this direction. It is a fundamental paradigm shift, not just for these products, but for our company. And we intend to continue to offer more and more choice. Our resellers and our education customers will be buying from us this way as well by the end of this current quarter. Think different. We needed to get back on the air. When I got to Apple, there were over a dozen different ad campaigns running. None of them funded enough to get any visibility. All of them having some conflicting messages with many others. It was crazy. We unified it down to one campaign, Think Different, and I think it really was great because what it communicated was what we care about. And I think a lot of people got a chance to see it, especially in our major metropolitan markets. And you'll see a lot more advertising from us this quarter. We do not intend to stop. One of the most wonderful forms of flattery is imitation. And we got copied a lot right away. And we got copied 2 times in particular that I wanted to show you today. One was Think Dharma. Did you see that one? I don't watch television much, so I didn't see it, but people brought the video and showed it to me. It was terrific. And the other was Think Funny. Have you seen this one? No? I'd like to show you these. I'd like to show you Think Different and Think Dharma and Think Funny if you have a minute, okay? So let's go ahead and roll those.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
The misfit, the beauty, the long legs and the short dress. You can quote her, disagree with her, but most of all, you'll love her. And while some people may see her as silly, we see genius. Because the people who think they're funny enough to change television are the ones who do.
Here's to the funny ones, the knuckleheads, the class clowns of this world. Sure, you can chuckle, chortle, even guffaw at them. Their spit takes and one-liners push Monday nights forward. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can make you laugh are the ones who do.
So in 51 days, we've made it into the popular culture with this. I'd also like to thank our ad agency, Chiat Day, for helping us capture the spirit of Apple on this commission. So now, we've got a few things to announce today in terms of new products. I'd like to go through them with you. The first is, we're not stopping after 51 days with our G3 products. We've got some new pro add-ins to announce today, and you'll see continuing add-ins every few months to these products. So, these are available off our website, build to order, starting today. And they are available in a reseller configuration starting today. The first one is, on the networking side, a 100 megabit Ethernet card for $100. The second is on the hard drive side. In addition to the IDE drives you can get, a 4 gigabyte ultra-wide SCSI drive and a 9 gigabyte ultra-wide SCSI drive, both available today. And the last one is a 128-bit Pro graphics card with 8 megabytes of video memory, again available today. Okay, next is Mac OS 8.1. We have been putting a lot of energy into getting our software team onto regular releases, and they've done a phenomenal job. System 8 has been a giant win for us. We've sold almost 3 million copies. And the response has been very, very strong on System 8. We have 8.1 to announce today. 8.1 fixes a zillion bugs, of course, and adds some significant performance. Some of the apps actually launch up to 30% faster on System 8.1, so there's some pretty nice stuff in there. Secondly, an enhancement to our HFS file system called HFS Plus, which basically is designed to be optimized for much larger disk drives. It actually gives you a lot of disk space back of the files you have currently stored under HFS when you store them with HFS Plus, and it's a much higher performance on large disk drives. Third, to use digital video disks, you need a new file system that supports the Universal Data Format, or UDF. No operating systems have this built in at this time, and Mac OS 8.1 is the first in the world to have it built in. Apple's performance on Java, we love Java, and Apple's performance on Java has not been best of breed. We have a great team working on that stuff now inside Apple, and we are working very closely with Sun, we're working very closely with Microsoft, and we are getting better. And so 8.1 ships with a new Java runtime and JDK 1.13. So we will continue to improve these things, continue to get new Java releases out on the website, and I hope the next time that we meet, we can say that we are second to no one in Java performance. And lastly, Internet Explorer ships as the default browser on 8.1. Ooh. You can switch it back to Navigator if you'd like. But many people happen to prefer Explorer, and we think it's a very good browser. 8.1 is free for all Mac OS 8 owners, and its official release date is in February. We'll have it on new systems in February, but there are rumors that it might even be on the website before then. So 8.1, the team has done a fantastic job. Thank you. Next is QuickTime 3.0. We have narrowed down the things we are focusing on technically so that we can really put a lot of energy behind each one. I still get hate mail about this. And we have canceled a lot of things. And the results of that start to show as we deliver on the things that we think really matter. QuickTime is one of them. It is one of the pillars of what we do. The standard for multimedia on computers in the world, and we intend to keep pushing that standard forward. So today we've already announced QuickTime 3.0. We're kind of formally announcing it today. We'll show you exactly what it is. One of the best ways to look at something is to contrast it against something else. And one of the good things about QuickTime is we haven't had any competitors. Microsoft has chosen not to compete with it, indeed anyway. And so finally, someone's coming along saying, hey, we kind of want to compete with QuickTime a little bit, and that's great, and that's Real Networks, and we think that's very healthy. So I'd like to use them to compare and contrast some of the really cool things about QuickTime 3.0, if you don't mind. So let's see how they stack up. The first thing is QuickTime's legacy, and the thing it leads the world in by far, is doing very high-quality video in software or with hardware assist. And we call that CD video, the very high quality of video you get on CD-ROMs. It is unparalleled for that. In addition to that, several professional video solutions like Media 100 and Avid are using QuickTime for their pro video products, Macromedia, Adobe, and others. And QuickTime, again, is unparalleled and has no competitors in this area. But one area where Real Networks has really, really done well is streaming. Streaming over the internet. And this has been what has distinguished these products up until now. Well, I'm very pleased to announce today that QuickTime 3.0 has streaming. And what is so great about it is you don't have to do anything special. It's just QuickTime, and it just streams. In addition, QuickTime 3.0 is adding the digital video format. This is the format that is in the new digital camcorders out of Sony. It's you know, the FireWire jack on these camcorders, right? That's what comes out of the FireWire jack, the DV format, and it goes right into QuickTime. In addition, QuickTime VR, as you just saw, nobody else has got anything like it, and with the VR authoring studio out there now, it's trivial to author VR environments like the one you just saw. And again, all this stuff streams over the internet. In music, Real Audio has some great music stuff. So do we now. We have put in a new codec, which is tremendous on music. As a matter of fact, we think the audio quality is better than Real Networks or anything else out there. Voice. Rather than using a proprietary voice codec, we have licensed Qualcomm's Pure Voice codec. Now, Qualcomm, as you know, is the developer of CDMA portable wireless phones. This is what is used in the new digital phones, and it is a phenomenally good compression standard. In addition, it's very important to, when you're streaming things, to stream them over low data rate modems. And we actually go as low as 14.4 or whatever it is, up to 56 kilobits per second. And we are using, rather than a proprietary scheme, the new video conferencing standard H.263, again in QuickTime. And lastly, on the server side, rather than asking you to go out and buy a proprietary, really expensive server, QuickTime just runs off any HTTP server when you want to stream it. One of the other things that I really want to mention today is on the video side, we've been working with a company called Sorensen Video. And they have developed a new codec technology which is in QuickTime 3.0 called the Apple Sorensen codec. And we think it is terrific, and finally now we can say Cinepack is over. The Sorensen codec is tremendous. As a matter of fact, the Sorensen folks are here today, Mr. Sorensen himself, and I really want to thank you guys. You've been terrific to work with. So, now we've got a great new version of QuickTime. We got 100 engineers working on this stuff. We can't continue to be a philanthropy about this. We've got to find a way to make some money. So we've been figuring out what are we going to do to make a little money off this so we can do even more development than we have. QuickTime started off as a single basic version on the Mac. We then added Windows. Now, QuickTime 3.0 makes a major leap on Windows. It's exactly the same code base as Mac, and it runs on Windows much better than in the past. It runs as well as on a Mac. We've added a Pro version. And what we've done is we've segmented these versions so that the authoring features are on the Pro version and some other features that are very nice are on the Pro version. And we are going to continue to give the basic version away for free, and we are going to sell the Pro version for $29.99 off our website. And if enough of you folks decide to buy the Pro version, we'll have even more money to extend QuickTime to QuickTime 4 and do some even more remarkable things, and we'd really appreciate it. So we've got ourselves an industry standard here. We intend to keep pushing it forward, multi-platform, and taking us into this new world of digital video and digital media in general. Now, to demo this, I'd like to welcome up on stage Peter Hoddy. He's our senior QuickTime architect, and he's going to give us a little run-through of QuickTime 3.0. Peter?
Thanks, Steve. Good morning. I'm going to be joined on